My friends, back are we again with episode 8 this time of L&D So Far and in Future. And you know what? Talking of so far and in future, the lady you see right at the other end is a person who keeps talking about helping a person create his or her version 2.0. Now that's intriguing if there was. I mean, Shulpa Kulshreshtha is a life coach and an author. But before any of that, tell me, this is how my version 1 point whatever looks like. What will my version 2.0 look like?
You know, how it happens is most of the time in our life, as humans, we know that we know something. Then there are things that we know that we don't know. And we spend our entire life trying to find that because we know that that is missing. But there's a third segment which we don't know that we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. That is where the version 2.0 is created. So if you ask me, what will be your version 2.0? I don't know. Whatever you want to create, all I can say is that will be drastically different from how your life has been so far. It has got no relation to your past. It will be based on your true strengths. It would be based on the dreams that you have and what future you want to create for yourself. That's what it is.
I think you've given me a ray of hope when you said power zone, because the rest of what you've said, if I've understood you correctly, brings me back to the same problem that I don't know what it is. And you also talk about consciously creating your future. So I know you don't like the word problem, but the problem is I myself don't know. How do I get to know?
Good question again. So that part which you don't know, that comes from an outside person. I can see the tree in front of me and I say, oh my God, there's a tree. How do I go past it? I can see just that tree. But there's somebody else who can see the entire forest, who can see a lot of trees. And they can say, Shilpa, it's not one tree, there are 50 trees. And behind those 50 trees, 500 meters towards the, let's say north, there's a river. Go to that river, you can have some water, and then go right. There's a cottage. That's where you can have food. I'm just giving a very layman example, but that comes from an outside person. And that's why it is extremely important when we are trying to find our version 2.0 to get the help of somebody outside. Somebody is an experienced person.
Okay. Now, is it totally impossible without a coach?
It's not impossible. You can definitely get there. But why would you spend 5 years, 10 years, 20 years trying to find something which you can just do in a year? In fact, I say the journey that I traveled in the last 2 years, I could have easily taken 10 years. Why should I wait for 10 years to create something which is possible in just a year? That's the question I'll ask.
So you're talking about your own journey, and I know for a fact it's a very interesting one. And the second one is consciously creating your future. So can you throw some light on both of these things?
I had a corporate experience of 16 years. And in 16 years, even though I had started it as a high flyer, somebody who was a national level ranker, 10 years into the journey, I just became part of the average game. I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't happy at the place where I was. I wasn't working up to my potential. In fact, I didn't even know what my potential was, but I wasn't happy. And that was a time when my position somehow became redundant. I say by God's grace, that point, I consciously created a future that I wanted. So I went back into my life and started thinking about the glimpses of the dreams that I have been seeing. And I started putting them all together with the help of a coach. And I consciously created the future that I'm living today. And the same thing I do for the other people, for the other clients that I work with. No matter where they stand in life, it is about consciously making a choice about where do they want to go in future, and helping them step into their power zone so that they can create that future for themselves.
So I'm trying to connect the dots. Happiness, creating what you want, not what other people want you to want, and power zone. So if I want to put a mirror in front of me, which gives me that revelation which I need as to what my power zone looks like and what I really want in the future, how would I do that? And what does it take to be happy?
I would say when you're at your best self. Best self means you're doing something that you love and you are creating the results that, you really feel that you're worth for. That's happiness. Happiness is about having big dreams and not just chasing those big dreams, but having those little joys along the way. Because, in the end, it's not what you have achieved. It's about who you have become in the journey that matters. You look at the mirror, what does your power zone look like? So I would answer it this way. House, I won't be able to answer in this because it
By
takes
mirror,
up.
I mean maybe a tool which will kind
Yes,
of force me to see the truth.
yes. So basically, there are few stages. One is about identifying the beliefs that we are living our life with. Now, some of those beliefs are not serving us well. We need to identify those beliefs and uproot that from our system. And then there are patterns that we are running. These patterns have become so much a part of our life that we don't understand that they are blocking us, they are chaining us. This is about identifying each of those patterns which are negative, which are not allowing us to blossom, and throwing them, knocking them from our life. And once we have removed all those unnecessary things, and this is what I say, then it is about understanding your
Right.
strengths. What is it that you're great at? And then creating the future that you want. Because what you create today will be very different from what you create when you're unchained. And that's where we create
So
your
to unchain myself, will it take something very unpleasant happening? For example, there was a very micro example in your book
Mhm.
about how your father passed away and you idolized him in every way possible except for one way. His food habits were something typical to your community or your part of India, which was very oily and rich, and that made
Yeah.
you eat completely differently for the rest of your life. Will it take a bigger version of that? Will it take a very unpleasant thing? Some people say you'll never change the future until you find your present intolerable. Or can I do it without that kind of a disaster happening?
Depends upon how long you wait. I waited for something unpleasant to happen. My position became redundant and I waited for 16 years despite knowing that this is not the best me. But, all it requires is a desire, and, that's it. I'm going to change it. It's taking charge. So you deciding in the moment that this is the point. I don't need any external event to push me to discover my version 2.0. That's it. You don't need an external event. In
Okay.
fact, don't wait for an external event to push you to do that.
Okay. So I'll leave you alone with my audience for 30 seconds and you can leave them with the takeaway of your choice.
This comes from my book, Play It Full. Anybody who hasn't seen it or read it, what I say is that most of the time in our life we live in a linear pattern. Our we take care of our achievements first, so we run after our achievements, our career, and somewhere along the line our family is left behind, and then we go and we quickly take care of our family. We start spending time with them, and then in that process somewhere we leave behind our health. By the time we realize health, then something else falls off the track. So we don't have to live life in this linear pattern. You can have it all. You do not have to choose one over the other. You can have rocking achievements, you can have an amazing family, and you can be in the best of your health and in the best of your energy, vitality, in the best of your spirits. You can have it all. Do not wait or do not choose one over the other. And that's what is written in my book, and that's the message I want to leave everyone with, that you know have it all because you can.
The only limitations are the limitations are the ones we conjure up.
Absolutely rightly said.
Right. Stay safe then. Oh, I actually forget every time I'm with you that I'm living in COVID times.
Oh,
So stay.
we don't have to remember that.
Okay, then I'll take your leave now. So the takeaway is play it full. You can have it all.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks, Devani.